Hey, howdy, hey, Space Rangers, Wolfman47 here. So originally my plan was to talk about a what if scenario where this character called Buzz Lightyear continues to think he's a real toy in the first Toy Story film, but then I decided actually maybe it'd be best if I just talked about him overall. So this what if scenario turned into a character study video. So there you go. But before we begin, I actually do have a Buzz Lightyear toy. So I bought this one off eBay for quite a good price, and the reason why he is on eBay is because, well, his wing is broken, so that's why I bought him like that, but it's okay, it's just for display. And he does work.
Buzz Lightyear to Star Command. Come in, Star Command.
And, yep, and there's that, there's his head, and, yep, karate chop action, yes! So yeah, so for those of you wondering which version of Buzz Lightyear I'm going to talk about, I'm of course going to talk about his toy in the Toy Story films, but I am going to sort of delve into the spin-offs a little bit as well. So in the first Toy Story film, he is Andy's latest toy, and because he is a toy that believes he is the real deal, he spends much of the film thinking he is the real deal, which really annoys Woody. Most of you know the story. He and Woody escape Andy's room, even though to begin with it was Woody that knocked Buzz out the window, but the toys believe he killed him, and yada yada yada. They got captured by Sid, and it's during Sid's sort of imprisonment in Sid's place that Buzz Lightyear realises that maybe he isn't the real deal after all, but he's in fact a toy, thanks to this TV advert that happens to be on TV at the time. But he tries to, but at first he doesn't believe it, but then as he attempts to fly, saying his famous catchphrase to infinity and beyond, he then falls and loses his arm. And then he goes through this Mrs. Nesbit phase, and then it's thanks to sort of some persuasion from Woody that he actually comes to realise that being a toy isn't as bad as he might think it is. And from that point on, he and Woody get on much better. They escape Sid, they reconcile with the other toys and reunite and everything. And that's pretty much Buzz's story from the first film. He starts out thinking that he is the real Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger, but realises that but then realises he is a toy, and at first decides that he doesn't want to live, but then realises then there's a good chance he should live because life's worth living if you are a toy. So that's the first film. Then cut to the second film. Woody gets kidnapped, and Buzz Lightyear sets about trying to rescue Woody. So he initially decides he wants to do it on his own, but then some of Woody's closest friends, so Rex, Potato Head, Ham, and Slinky Dog, all join him in finding Woody. Now I know some of you might be thinking, why is Potato Head going? Didn't he hate him in the first film? And likewise with Ham. Well, I think Potato Head really is sorry for his role in making sure Woody gets out of Andy's life, and wants to make amends. And similarly, and although Ham wasn't really involved with that, he was sort of commentating as it went about. But anyway, so Buzz rallies the troops, and they set out to rescue Woody, leading them into Al's toy barn, where Buzz finds the Buzz Lightyear action figure aisle, and it's important to note that in the real world, the Buzz Lightyear action toys did actually sell out really, really fast, and because not many people were that confident that Toy Story would be as successful as it was, popular toy brands like Hasbro and others weren't really involved in the creation of those action toys in real life, but then they kind of signed up when the second film came out. So going back to Al's toy barn. So Andy's Buzz is captured by a Buzz Lightyear action figure that has a utility belt, and the utility belt Buzz believes that the Buzz he's captured is just another Space Ranger needing to go into deep hypersleep, but in actual fact, Buzz is trying to convince him that he is a toy. They're all toys, and he's having none of it. And then stuff happens. That the new Buzz goes with Andy's toys to rescue Woody. Whereas the real Buzz follows as well, but unaware that a certain emperor is after him. This guy specifically. I bought this one from the Disney store when they were still about. So they find Woody. Buzz reminds Woody the saying that he told him in the first film, that life's worth living if you're a toy, and that Buzz came all this way to rescue Woody because he believed him. But of course, Woody, believing that his destiny is in a collector's thing, he decides otherwise. Buzz, heartbroken, decides to leave with the rest of the toys back to Andy. Eventually, Woody does change his mind, and then the rescue attempt becomes a bit more serious, because now that he's been held against his will by Sticky Pete, Buzz Lightyear now needs to go rescue him, and sort of urgently. So Utility Buzz fights Zurg, who's revealed to be his father. Andy's Buzz and the rest of the toys work to rescue Woody, doing all sorts of stuff, including driving a Pizza Planet truck to the airport, and then just sort of finding the right case. And then eventually, after a battle against Stinky Pete, Woody is kind of sort of rescued, as is Bullseye, but then Buzz then works with Woody and Bullseye to go rescue Jessie, who's still trapped in the sort of luggage that's on its way to the plane. Everything happens. Buzz kind of has a sort of attraction to Jessie, and yeah, you know the rest from there. And then we get Toy Story 3, which is set several years later, and in this one, Buzz is very adamant that the toys are ready to move on from Andy now that Andy's going to college, which in the UK here would be university, because we actually do have colleges here, but they're not actually treated like the colleges US folk have. As far as I know, I don't actually know, because I've never been to university. Anyway, so it comes to the point where Andy must decide what to do with the toys, and initially his plan is to put the toys up in the basement. But before he does that, he decides which toy he wants to take to college out of Woody and Buzz, and ultimately goes with Woody, so Buzz goes with the other toys. Buzz and the other toys believe that they're thrown their trash on the curb, and are put there thanks to Andy's mum, but Woody tries to convince them otherwise. The toys arrive at Sunnyside Day Centre, and Buzz decides to stay with the toys. Pretty determined that Andy's mission's complete, and Woody otherwise goes somewhere else. Because of the harsh treatment that the toys get in the cafeteria room, Buzz sets out to go to speak to Lotso to try and convince him to bring the other toys into the room that they're in, or I think it's the I can't remember. But realises that Lotso will only let him go and not the other toys, so Buzz is turned into demo mode. Somehow the Day Centre happens to have a Buzz Lightyear instruction manual, like the odds. I mean, it's yeah. So Buzz believes he's a space ranger again, and decides to arrest and imprison the other toys, and only let them out when it's playtime for the children. Later on, Woody returns to the toys and devises a plan to not only escape Dayside, but also to bring Buzz back to his old self. So the plan here is that Rex and Ham would capture him, while Barbie would set out to find the instruction manual by sort of trying to woo Ken over. It's kind of like a scenario where this big man character is wooed by this female character, and the female character's mission is to try and get the information out of this man character, but they don't act. And yeah. Anyway, enough about them. Back to Buzz. So they successfully managed to turn Buzz into a friendlier version of him, albeit language is different. So in this one he thinks he's Italian, or is it Spanish? Spanish. So Spanish Buzz. So they all escape. They all escape Lotso. They get through the dump. Buzz, in a desperate attempt to save Jesse, reverts back to his old self, and they all escape the trash compactor thanks to the aliens, and decide that Woody makes the decision that instead of being put in the attic, they should be donated to Bonnie, which Andy does just that. Andy still believes that Buzz is still the coolest toy ever, and goes to college, saying goodbye to Buzz and the other toys. And that really is the end of Toy Story for me, but then obviously because Pixar love making money and love making these films, we get Toy Story 4. And in Toy Story 4, Buzz is kind of dumbed down. Not dumbed down in the sense that he is like how the Teen Titans are in Teen Titans Go, after being so great in the original Teen Titans series. He's dumbed down in the sense that he is very reliant on his phrases. So when Woody sort of says to him about how he hears his inner voice, Buzz believes that his inner voice is what his phrases are saying. So I'll just demonstrate using Buzz here. So pretty much most scenes that Buzz is in, you just see him press these buttons.
No back talk. I have a laser, and I will use it.
You do it again.
Stand back, everyone.
Again.
Everyone take cover. Buzz
Again.
Lightyear mission log. All signs point to this planet's location observed fortress. No sign of intelligent life.
Oh, and once more.
Who goes there?
And it just continues like that. And I kind of understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to figure out what's the best option to go for is. And ultimately he does manage to help Woody in his little mission with Bo Peep, but then is sort of the one that decides to be the new leader of the toys, albeit with other characters. But yeah, so that's kind of Buzz Lightyear's story in a nutshell in the Toy Story main films. Obviously we've not got Toy Story 5 yet, and I don't know how his story is going to continue there, but that's where his story is up to that point. So in the spin-offs, it's pretty much as you'd expect the spin-offs to be. So the first spin-off was Buzz Lightyear Star Command, which was this Disney Channel TV series, and the only TV series Pixar ever made that was traditionally animated, where Buzz goes on various journeys with his comrades in the Galactic Alliance Academy, whatever, and they go up against Zurg, and it's pretty much as you'd expect an in-universe show about Buzz Lightyear to be. Unlike the film Lightyear, which feels very different. So Lightyear is meant to be this film that's supposed to be the sort of film that gets you all hyped up and excited to buy a Buzz Lightyear action figure, but all it is just a pretty boring film. Visually it's stunning, sure, but it does way too many stuff that makes it less of a 90s film, more of a more modernish film, because at the beginning of the film it's implied that this film is the film that made Andy want to have a Buzz Lightyear action figure, but it feels not so 90s at all, that I can't imagine any child wanting to actually buy a Buzz Lightyear action figure after seeing that. So what I mean by that is that there's some LGBT content, there is a lot of maturity stuff, and they also do change Zurg as well. So from Toy Story 2 onwards, many of us were of the belief that Zurg is Buzz Lightyear's father, and that's kind of also explored in the TV series as well, and also the video game that came with it. But this film actually makes out that Zurg is actually a future Buzz, and whether Lightyear will get a sequel or not, I don't think it will, because it wasn't that well received, or didn't do well at the box office as far as I know. It's implied that Zurg may actually be still about, albeit not as bad. But he says his catchphrases and all that, so it's not completely a portrayal of everything we know and love about Buzz Lightyear. And that's pretty much Buzz Lightyear's and that's pretty much Buzz Lightyear. As a character, he's not my favourite character. My favourite's always going to be Woody from Toy Story. But I can see why a lot of people like him, because he has a pretty cool action figure, you know, with phrases, the stuff he does, and everything. Yeah, I can definitely see why lots of you would love to have him as an action figure. And I'm glad that Toy Story is still recognised as a valuable franchise even today. I know it feels weird that we're getting another film after the fourth film, and even a third film for that matter, ended the franchise perfectly twice. So you don't really need any more, but you know, money, and they have more stories to tell. And as I said in my video, Ice Age is Pixar's flagship franchise, so yeah, they need to keep it going somehow. But yeah, that's how I feel about that. So, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit the like button, the share button, the comment button, and the subscribe button wherever they are. See you in the next one. Peace to you all. And whether you go to infinity and beyond, always remember that there are people out there that love and care for you, and that life is worth living if you are a toy. You could be the coolest toy ever or the coolest person ever, but never doubt yourself, and always believe that there is some good out there in this world where everything's just uncertain. So yeah, alright. Doodles, and to infinity and beyond.
To infinity and beyond!